Steve, thanks very much for being here this morning.
Thank you, Maria.
What do you think comes out of this meeting? What should come out of this meeting? Two questions.
Well, I have to say, I mean, what the president said was borderline offensive ignorance. I mean, why in the world, in the current state of things in the United States and China relationship, would you be calling for normalcy? It is not normal. We have a government led by Xi Jinping who has helped Russia attack Ukraine and the West broadly. We have had a government in China help Iran and its proxies, including support for Hamas, as they slaughtered Israelis and inflamed situations in the Middle East. And then there's the multitude of attacks in the United States. A real president, a real leader should be stepping to this meeting strongly advocating for the American people and our interests and hopefully deter China. But instead, they've given him a Chinese-like experience, cleaning the people off of the street of a port city in order to allow business leaders to pay enormous amounts to shine his shoes for him, practically.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, the wrong kind of setup for the wrong kind of meeting.
Well, it's a great point that you make, Steve, because the fact is the aggression coming out of communist China has been heightening ever since Joe Biden walked into the Oval Office, and there's been absolutely no response. So here he's got his first face-to-face meeting. You would think that he's going at it in a tough manner, saying, why did you send a surveillance balloon to send back information about our military installations in real time? Why did you cover up COVID? Why are you bullying our ships and our planes in international waters? Why have you been stealing intellectual property for so many years? None of that. Why are you allowing fentanyl to flow into America, killing our citizens?
Right. I mean, really, the president is entering this acting as if he is the one who is apologizing that there's tension in the relationship when he should be asking Xi Jinping, why are you trying so hard to be the enemy of the American people? All we did was shower your country with trillions of dollars of privileged economic opportunity, allowing you to pull your citizens out of poverty, not because you did anything right. The Communist Party destroyed China's economy and society. It was the generous West that did otherwise. But he should be entering the conversation that way. But as you say, we have Americans literally dying due to what the Chinese government is doing with the cartels and others. And the president is talking about moving toward a deal on that. But why would we believe a leader that's been willing to lie and hurt primarily America, but the rest of the world in recent years?
Well, we've seen that this adversary is as aggressive as possible, and we've seen this before. Some people are comparing the communist China aggression to what we were seeing in the 1940s from Nazi Germany. And, of course, they were enablers then as well. Xi is the guest of honor at a speech tonight for dinner with U.S. business executives, enabling all of this. The New York Times reporting, quote, tickets to the dinner and the reception hosted by the National Committee on U.S.-China Relations and U.S.-China Business Council cost $2,000 apiece. For $40,000, companies can purchase 8 seats at a table plus 1 seat at Mr. Xi's table. Steve, they all want a piece of the action and to be able to sell to the 1.4 billion person population of China.
Well, it's just a gathering of hypocrites, first and foremost, but it's hurtful to the United States of America. It's hurtful to all who have suffered financially and personally from the aggression the Chinese Communist Party has clearly engaged in. Congressman Gallagher of the Select Committee on Strategic Competition with the CCP in the House has spoken very clearly and exactly right about this dinner and this kind of feeding of an aggressor that is promoting evil in the world. I hope other leaders will follow his example and speak out about this. Senator Schumer has been particularly tough about economic and financial advantage the CCP has sought, has advocated reciprocity being more a part of our relationship. I think that would be a step in the right direction. Maybe it's the best I could hope from the Democrats.
Do we have Michael Mullen? When I was talking with Admiral Mullen the other day, about communist China, he mentioned that it would be a disaster if the U.S. and China decoupled. And he basically went back to what Joe Biden said. And that is that they need a communications open. They need their militaries to talk, because if we're not talking and communicating, that's when something significant can happen, and it's very worrisome given the weapons that China is developing. Here's Admiral Michael Mullen with me a week ago on Sunday Morning Futures. Watch this.
I just think if we decouple, we have no way to communicate, and we have every way to miscalculate. I'm actually happy to see us to start talk about nuclear weapons. Chinese, their buildup of nuclear weapons, these weapons that can essentially eliminate the world, has been extraordinary. And to not be able to have discussions about how do you contain those weapons, which could end life on Earth, I think is really important. And if we're completely apart, there's no way to have those discussions as they build up their military and their capability.
So that's the point, Steve, and that's what Yellen and all these globalists keep saying. China basically cut off the U.S. in terms of the military communicating. Biden and Xi now will reportedly announce an agreement in which Beijing is claiming to want to crack down on the manufacturing and export of fentanyl. And in exchange, the Biden administration will lift restrictions on China's Forensic Police Institute. This is all China wanted. They wanted sanctions relief. That's it. So it doesn't matter what happens. They cut us off. We're talking to our militaries, whatever it is, we're tiptoeing around this, even though our people are dying of fentanyl. Steve, I know that you lost your daughter to a fentanyl overdose. I'm so sorry to have heard this. We send our condolences to you and your family. How did your daughter get access to fentanyl?
Well, sadly, it was when she was living in Colorado. She was part of a network of people that would get off-market drugs every once in a while. We know that we have a pandemic of anxiety, ADHD, and other kinds of things going on. The Chinese manipulated apps and social media accentuate that kind of thing, and she became addicted to different stuff. When I brought her to Florida to get her clean, we had some moments of sobriety and brought her back to real life. But the damage done by the power of addiction is just overwhelming. And sadly, last month, when she was taking another substance, it was laced with fentanyl, and it seized her lungs, deprived her brain of oxygen, and we lived through 12 days of near brain death. And people just need to know that this is not a one-and-done kind of thing. It is poisoning. I don't endorse presidential candidates at this point. I've been focused on trying to save my daughter. But I think Vivek Ramaswamy was correct. This is poisoning. These are not overdoses. This is lacing of other things that people don't know that they're taking, and this is a devastating consequence.
That's exactly right. This is a poisoning. There's absolutely no way around it. This is not an overdose. And this was 5 days before her 25th birthday, Steve. We could not be more sorrowful for you and your family. I'm so sorry to hear this news, and we send you our best condolences. Steve Yates, thank you, sir.